The first 13 verses, Mark the 5th chapter, it reads like this. They came to the other side of the sea, to the country of the Gerasenes. When he had stepped out of the boat, immediately a man of the tombs with an unclean spirit met him. And he lived among the tombs, and no one could restrain him anymore, even with a chain. For he had often been restrained with shackles and chains. Prison industrial complex. With chains he wrenched apart, and the shackles he broke in pieces, and no one had the strength to subdue him. Night and day, among the tombs, the mountains, he was always howling and bruising himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran, bowed down before him, and he shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you have to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I adjure you by God, don't torment me." For he had said to him, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What's your name?" He replied, "My name is Legion, for we are many." Begged them earnestly not to send him out of the country. Now there were on the hillside a great herd of swine was feeding. And unclean spirits begged him, "Send us into the swine, let us into them." So he gave them permission, and the unclean spirits came out and entered the swine, and the herd, numbering about 2,000, rushed down the steep bank into the sea. They were drowned in the sea. The swineherds ran off and told it in the city, run to LA. And in the country, then people came to see what had happened. They came to Jesus and saw the demoniac sitting there, clothed and in his right mind. The very man who had the legion, and they were afraid. Amen. Amen. Next week, we'll talk about when you're in your right mind. But this morning, I want you to pray with me from this thing. When you are out of your mind.
Listen.
When you are out of your mind. When you are out of your mind. Look at your neighbor if you can stand and look at him. And ask him, are you out of your mind? Look on the other side. That's the wrong neighbor. Look on the other side. Tell him, I'm just for real. I'm for real. Are you out of your mind? Some of y'all answer, yeah, okay. You out of your mind. When you are out of your mind. All of us have had lapses. We've been out of our mind. Some of us come to church out of your mind, hoping to get back in your right mind. Out of your mind. His name was Junior. No one can tell this story like someone who has watched him grow up on the block. Junior had it all. Back in the days, Junior was a mathematical whiz. But now, since life has happened to him, his mind is gone. Literally is out of his mind. As we peek into the conversation, we hear the narrator who has carefully and colorfully canvassed this neighborhood, telling the story of Junior. And the narrator, who just happens to be a brilliant sociologist, masking as a comedian, named Richard Pryor, says these words about Junior. He said, look at him, over there in the street. The boy used to be brilliant. Could book the numbers, wouldn't need paper nor pencil. Now he don't know who he is. Now why don't we laugh at that? Because it is funny. If you ain't heard that out, you told me it's funny. And while we laugh, there are probably some of us in here who know Junior. No, maybe some of us in here are Junior. Junior may be in our family. Junior may be in our household. Junior may be in your bed at night. Junior may be a friend who was like family. Junior, who had so much going for him or her, now doesn't know who they are. Brothers and sisters, I use that comedic satire to share a sad commentary, and that is that there are literally many of us who are out of our minds. There are some of us who are out of our minds because of personal problems. Come on, some of us are out of our minds because of the problems that we have. Seem like they won't stop. They just keep on coming and keep on coming. Like the Energizer Bunny. They keep coming and coming. Bills over here, a crazy boo over there. Can't find a good man or a woman over here. And the one you found who you thought was all right, they crazy over there. Come on. Family is driving you crazy over here. The boss driving you crazy over there. You can't find a job over here, or you just got fired from your job over there. Come on. Personal problems can drive you right out of your mind. Matter of fact, that's why some of y'all came to church, because you are out of your mind. You can't deal with it no more. You can't take it no more. And you testify with Grandmaster Flash, don't push me because I'm close. I'm about to go over the edge. Maybe it's not personal problems, but maybe it's public policies that cause the personal problems that drive you out of your mind. Come on, public policies which place things before people instead of people before things. Right here in Illinois, bill was just passed that if a mother makes over $600 a month, she cannot get assistance to care for her children. And so mothers are literally making decisions on whether to work, to make it, or rob to take it. Come on, keep it real with it. Because public policies can cause personal problems. Come on, right here in Illinois, mental health clinics are closing down while property taxes are going up. So now the streets are flooded with brothers and sisters who need help mentally but are getting nothing, not even health care subsidies. And some people are literally going out of their minds, watch this, because mental health is a major hurdle for hurting of the masses. And before, let me say that for a minute, because before you go demonizing and calling people with mental health issues crazy, please remember that mental health is an illness. Just like catching a cold is an illness. Depression is an illness, just like diabetes is an illness. Schizophrenia is an illness, just like the chicken pox is an illness, and catching a flu is an illness. It's funny, watch this, side note. It's funny how the media can recognize it as being an illness when it comes to some folks. Listen. But not other folks. And many of these mass shootings in Oregon, in Charleston, in Columbine, and Sandy Hook, and in other places, when they find out the assailant is white, the first thing they will do is bring up the fact that they probably had some mental illness. But if the assailant looks like me and you, black or brown, then it couldn't be mental illness because they are dehumanized and treated lower than the dirt. In fact, in the media, Dennis Roof was forgiven for killing 9 people in Bible study in the same week. They were forgiven in the same week, but half the country is still not forgiving Michael Vick for dog fighting 9 years ago. And I dare say, much of the violence we see on the streets of Chicago and surrounding areas, I bet is due to an untapped and undiagnosed cases of mental illness. And I'm pushing. Because I bet if you do some real background checks on some of these rogue police officers, I bet you will find some undiagnosed mental illness there too. I'm not excusing it on either side. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. Because you got too many people running around with mental illnesses, and they may not be hollering at the moon, but their mental makeup needs some adjusting. They may not be living in a graveyard like in the text, but they may be wearing a badge and sending other folks to graveyards. They may not be bruising themselves with stones, but they may be living in neighborhoods where there are no resources, and it literally makes them want to holler and throw up both their hands. All I'm saying is mental health is a major hurdle for hurting masses. It's an illness that needs to be treated with therapy and sometimes medicine, and we got our priorities wrong. We're too concerned about money than helping people. And too often people are criminalized for needing help. And people are locked up for needing help. You see it in the text. He says he was restrained with chains and shackles. That ain't nothing but prison industrial complex. They are locked up for needing help. In fact, the largest mental health facility in the state of Illinois is at 26 in California. It's the Cook County Jail. Why? Because mental health is a major hurdle for There's some things that can cause you to go out of your mind. Especially when you look at our world today. It may be personal problems, maybe public policy that has an effect on your personal problems. I don't know what it is for you. But can I talk to some real folk?
All right. Come on, preach on now.
But when you look back over your life, you know there have been some times when you have been out of your mind. I mean, you just lost it, blacked out, went ballistic, testified with Steve Urkel. Did I do that? Because of public policy or personal problems. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And you really needed God to be a mind regulator. I want some mom just talked about that she needed God to be a mind regulator. Come on, you ever been there? You got some company in the text. Because that's where we find this brother who was literally out of his mind. The text lets us in on a few clues to let us know how he was out of his mind. And to let us know how we can gauge if we're out of our minds. Let me give you a few. These ain't my point, but let me give you a few. Watch this. In the location, in this text, we find this brother living among the tombs. First thing, you know if you're out of your mind, check your location. That don't sound like much to y'all, but we know this brother was out of his mind because of his location. His location is a graveyard. Okay. We know he has lost his mind by who he's hanging out with. He's hanging out with people who have no future because their future's already been cut off. And hanging out with people who ain't going nowhere. Hanging out with people who are stuck with no life left in them. Let me tell somebody this. Let me ask you. If you want to know if you lost your mind, look at who you hanging around. Are you staying with people who are stuck and can't step or refuse to step? Are you hanging around people who ain't going nowhere? I don't know about you and I ain't judging nobody. I'm not talking about what I'm talking about, but I don't spend my time with folks who ain't going nowhere and are okay with going nowhere and can't go nowhere because they like being stuck right where they are. No, I want somebody around me who's going to push me to be better than where I am right now and be better than I am today. I want to hang with some folks who love me enough not to let me stay where I am and love me enough not to let me stay how I am, but can sometimes see more in me than I may be able to see in myself. If you want to know, you lost your mind. Check your location. Who you hanging out with? Where you hanging out? You hanging out graveyard? Okay, keep looking because you know you're out of your mind. Not only if you have a dead location, but if you're engaging in self-mutilation. Preach, Reggie. It's in the text. Here it is. The text says he was in the tombs, howling at the moon. While he's howling at the moon, he's also bruising himself with stones. Bruising himself with stones. He's hollering and harming himself at the same time. Watch this. Because the connection between your location and self-mutilation is that this man shows you if you're not careful who you're hanging around. You may just start trying to get like those who are hanging around.
That's real.
The graveyard cut himself, and they dead. And if he keep cutting himself, he'll wind up killing himself. And if he kills himself, he'll wind up being just like the ones whom he's hanging around. He's doing what's not in his best interest, and there is no one doing it to him. He's doing it to himself. Can I ask you a question? What is it that you're doing to yourself that is not in your best interest?
Wow.
Sometimes it's not an inner me. It's the inner me. And what are you doing physically to yourself? What are you taking into your body? What are you eating? Knew it wasn't being quiet. What are you drinking? Watch this. What are you reading? What are you taking into your mental state? Who are you listening to? Come on. Are you out of your mind? This man is out of his mind because we see his location, we see self-mutilation. Now watch this. When the writer talks about this man who was out of his mind, the writer gives location, talks about self-mutilation. But what the writer also says about this man